Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm George.
I'm Stav.
Today we're going to be talking about a few things. One, most importantly, as you'll see in the title, which we're going to get to here in the next minute. But first, I want to give a shout out to a gentleman named AUDI who ended up sending this over. Poor Cleo doesn't even know it. Look at my beached whale over there. Look at that, Cleo. You good? She doesn't even know. So I guess one of Stav's coworkers is an avid subscriber, follower, and also an Audi enthusiast.
Definitely not my friend after this, though.
He ends up seeing this dog. He's like, man, this dog's thick. He's like, I'm going to get him a plate. So Stav ended up bringing this back from work and dropping it off here. And I've been meaning to cover it on one of the episodes, but we're going to cover it today. So, AUDI, for those, if you're watching now, I appreciate the plate, and so does Cleo. Luckily, Cleo can't read. Otherwise, she'd be pretty upset.
Just like the
but
owner. She
just got done eating, and she's relaxing on the side of the garage, so I can't really hate on it too much. But I appreciate it. Thank you. That was... I don't want to say it was nice of you, but it was
definitely not nice of me.
It was definitely a nice troll, but I'll take it. Well, I'm not going to rock it on any of the cars. It'll be here in the garage, but just know that I know that you know that I know that you sent it. So, welcome back to the channel, everyone. And again, you're probably wondering what the hell is going on. As the last episode, I talked about that I am going to be mocking up as I was waiting for a stock motor to arrive from Canada. There's some truth and some kind of like sideways truth to that. So yes, we did throw a stock motor inside the RS3. The difference is, I don't know, Stav, if you want to do the pleasure of popping over the hood.
Right here, with this hood right here, pops right open. And
let's throw that light in there.
What's going on?
And the kind of cool thing is that last year we ended up teasing this and throwing the VR valve cover on top of the 5-cylinder engine, the one that's sitting over there in the corner. And the internet went ablaze with, oh my God, they're VR6 swapping the RS3. And we ended up not going through with it just because we were still just a bit intimidated with what's entailed in putting these cars together. But as you can see now, this is a spare 3.2 motor that I ended up kind of bartering with Stav and taking it off of Stav's hands.
It still has been finalized, but I mean...
But the cool thing is you'll see it bolted in. You'll see OEM. Oh, it's a 034 mount, but OEM design, engine mount and bracket for driver and passenger side, and it bolts up. As you'll notice there, that is an RS3 DQ500 trans. The DQ500 trans came stock on the RS3s. You see I have another bell housing there, which we'll get into here in just a second. But just know, it's bolted in. And then on top of that, we have this beautiful, beautiful valve cover that we ended up picking up from HST. For those of you guys that may know or say, hey, that name looks familiar, HST, there's a company in Austria, and these guys have a beautiful green, amongst a lot of other cars that they have, a beautiful green TT that's VRT powered in the 7-second quarter-mile range. These guys are absolute gods when it comes to the VR6 stuff.
These guys know what we don't know how to do. They know how to go fast in a VR6, but we're going to learn along the way.
So I ended up still having my B5 over this stuff. Pop up that valve cover real quick so people can see the difference. I want to showcase it. So initially, when we were mocking this motor up this past week, I ended up using this valve cover, and you can put it down, Stuff. So that is an OEM R32, if not a FETA valve cover from a 3.2, and that is the HST billet. And you can see how much smoother, how much nicer it is. Obviously, there's no horsepower gain here, but it does come with pre-built.
10 horsepower.
I think it's 20 imaginary horsepower.
But what's cool about it is you have the pre-built-in retrofit fittings for the catch can, where you had to weld in here on your old valve cover that's ugly in silver.
And well, shut up. And then the oil fill cap, instead of being here on the right, they actually put it here in the center, which looks kind of cool. But that is the HST billet valve cover that's going to be rocking on this car. You can put that back, Stuff. Thank you. Appreciate it. He does such a good job for being a great employee, Stuff. Thank you.
No problem.
You still don't get any medical or dental, but you're doing great.
It is what it is. I mean, it is what it is.
But just understand that the motor does bolt in. There's a lot of things that we're going to be doing here. But before we get into that, let's go over to this table. Let's discuss a few things. As you guys know, on the RS3, we were rocking the DCT 1200 clutch kit. And the cool thing is about the DQ500, that is actually the bell housing cover off my transmission. The modded version, which I'll show you a screenshot of it now in a comparison, on the left you'll see the OEM, and on the right of the picture you'll see the modded from Andreas and a good buddy of mine is Sam, who brokered the deal to have the DQ500 modded so the VR6 accepts it. We can and will reuse RS3 clutches, and the DQ500, believe it or not, has a similar flywheel to the VR. The only difference is it's 10 bolt. So as you guys know, in our last Instagram video, we kind of talked about, you know, clutch upgrades and then also flywheel upgrades. Let me show you something on this RS3. So one thing we noticed in the past few weeks, or actually month, I would say, is that we pretty much destroyed the stock flywheel. And again, the reason why I didn't upgrade this is because the upgrades weren't available during the time of the build. So just understand, you see this? Now look at that. See that section that's missing? This section that's cracked cannot handle built motor power. So what people do is make a center upgrade kit, which DCT provides and makes and offers, instead of rocking these stock plates. Now keep in mind, the 5-cylinder is an 8-bolt and the VR6 is a 10-bolt. So what I have here is a stock DQ500 10-bolt VR. We ended up drilling out with Staub's $130 drill press we ended up getting from Harbor Freight.
Amazon.
Is it
Amazon Prime? I have an account.
So we ended up drilling all these rivets out, about maybe $20 worth of drill bits, 20, 30 minutes. And we were thinking, and the VR will just retrofit, but again, the 5-cylinder, the Daza 2.5 RS3 flywheel is 8 bolts, so we can't use this. So what we're gonna be doing is sending this flywheel out to DCT for them to produce a part just similar to this for the VR6 swap flywheel and usage. And again, we get to use the RS3 clutches. The car is powered by Syvex. Unitronic powers the TCU. Everything will pretty much stay the same, except we are yanking the motor, and we're going to get into that in just a second. The motor itself, we're going to be taking off the engine harness, and we're going to be retrofitting this engine harness on the VR. So there's going to be a lot of electronics on this motor we won't be needing, because I'm going to be using the 3.2 VRs aside from all this plastic stuff that's all over on the top. You don't even get to see how beautiful this engine is because all the plastic crap that's on top. But just understand that we're going to be removing this entire engine harness, and then we got to put this motor on a pallet, and it is getting shipped overseas because this is already pretty much purchased. And then we're going to start building the 3.2. But the cool thing again is we get to use the VR. It bolts up. It will make a ton of power, and it's going to be us. And we'll get into why we're going to be doing the swap. Again, I kind of touched base on it on the last video.
6 is better than 5.
We're going to get into that here in just a second. We'll have a little story time one-on-one, and we'll talk about it. As a lot of you guys were asking about why we're doing certain things and why we decided to go this route. But just understand, this is the reason why, is that everything bolts up and it's
What's
easy.
really cool compared to the old cars is how easy it is for this to bolt up, because the DQ500 is something that people are now using in R32s that make big power. You know, they've already adapted these transfer cases. We just happen to be putting it into an RS3 chassis.
Correct.
So it's kind of cool that, like, you know, we didn't know if it was going to fit, and with just regular motor mounts
now it fits.
And it's fully mounted up.
And that's the kind of killer too, is that it seems so much easier than the B5 because so many stock parts work. And the car already has a standalone Syvex that's built in. We removed it now because we were, you know, yanking the engine in and out 15 times. But Syvex will run the engine and pretty much the dashboard just like it does with the 5-cylinder, and it'll be just like stock. And then we'll have Unitronic to continue powering the transmission.
Can I give a message to HST? If you're watching this video, please make a valve cover for the 12 valve. I can't have George having a better valve cover than me. This is not good. Like, I don't even want to pop the hood like we go to a car show now. Like, I'm like,
yeah, definitely make a valve
I see
cover.
you shaking your head.
No, I have a twitch. It's a little hot in that garage. Just make it.
I've seen that before.
Don't make shit. Just don't. Yeah, I want you to make something so he could buy. No.
Jerk.
But again, now here comes the bigger question: what we're able to retain. I have the IE carbon box there. I want to reuse it. It pretty much fits in this area. So it's going to kind of look like a stock RS3 setup, except we're going to have obviously the VR6 engine bolted in place. The 3.2, again, I picked it up secondhand. It's a stock 3.2 that's been sitting on an engine stand here on the side.
Still not transferring to the title of the motor.
We're going to end up building the 3.2, and again, that's going to be part of the build series, is going over the motor. I'm going to be going with an R30 setup on this, as a lot of the high horsepower, very fast quarter-mile cars are R30 for the high rev, quick spool. And we'll get into, again, more details on why we're going to be doing that, and also the path forward. Again, we're going to be upgrading clutches. We're going to be sending those 1200s out, sending it out for a 1300 kit. And I think we're pretty much good stuff. We're going to have to figure out tubular manifold, a downpipe, and then figure out how we're going to be doing the intercooler and then the piping. But I think that's pretty easy compared to all the custom shit we had to do with the B5. So
not necessarily easy, but it's different. I mean, I don't think it's going to be the hardest thing to figure out, but I mean, this motor bolting up is half the. I mean, the other issue is just the wiring that we're now sorting with the harness going to be getting adapted. But I mean, it's fitting in. Is already half the plan. We don't have to cut anything. That's pretty nice.
So let's have a quick second story time here for a moment. So let's talk about a few things, as I'm sure you guys are wondering. There's been, I think the comment section in the last video blew up. What's going on? You must have had a fight with this person, that person. I didn't anticipate doing this build, this swap, but this was always the plan in the end. Understand we are VR6 swap people, right? We follow an avid YouTuber named Rob Dam who does pretty much a rotary in everything that he owns. Then the dude's got like a soccer mom minivan with a rotary on it pretty much. Just understand, we always love the VR6 engine. It's easy, it's cheap, makes a ton of power.
Sounds great.
Some of the fastest cars, yes, some of the fastest cars in the world, in the European car world, are VR6 powered, including the fastest TT in Europe is VR powered, not 5-cylinder.
Usually with a 12 valve, but I mean, this is the.
Understand, we're not throwing shade at 5-cylinder owners whatsoever. The 5-cylinder being as capable it is a huge plus, but the problem with that is too, the car wasn't individualized. I was essentially racing someone else's car, other than the bank's. The bank. Pretty much the bank's car. But
the bank called, why are you modifying their car?
All joking aside, the car was essentially taken to a shop. They built the motor, they designed the turbo kit. I had very little input. I didn't have any part in that development in terms of choosing what the engine should be, the path forward, this, that. And it was very much taken out of my hands. As me and Stav built pretty much most of our stuff on our B5s, we had a part in where that car is going, how it's being built. As you guys know, I tore apart my B5 because I'm redoing the suspension. Those are our vehicles that we get to do whatever we please with. Now, essentially, in the beginning, we were very intimidated by the RS3, so we were very hands-off. Man, we don't know nothing about this car, never messed around with these automatic transmissions, the electronics. Who better than...
honestly, we never realized how far these cars would come. You know, when
Correct.
You were going 10-1 at like 140, it was like, oh my God, that car is amazing. Now it's like the slowest thing on earth.
Correct. So keep in mind, guys, the reason why we're doing this is simply because I want to. Simply because this is the path that I want to take with my car, and it's something cool. We've done unique things on this channel before. We're going to continue doing them, such as the world's first RS3 swap. There's a A3 that was swapped very similar to this, and they ended up doing an LMS wide body kit from Late Night, and we'll feature that real quick and show you guys something. That's one of the motivating factors for this channel. That obviously we're huge followers of USP Motorsports and their racing B5 VR, 034 Motorsport, iBet Industries. Understand, guys, that we want to do what we want to do to our cars, and we're going to do them regardless of what anyone else thinks. I do this to make me happy, as I'm sure you or Stav or anyone should modify their cars so they can be happy.
I would do the same thing, just with 12 valve. I mean,
I want to chat about the 5-cylinder engine real quick, though. Just understand that this motor itself, in stock form, pretty much used out of a crashed RS3 TTRS, goes for about $14,000 to $16,000. Okay, the build itself is $20,000 plus. So now you're in the hole for nearly $35,000, $40,000, and you're making big power. If you have a failure, that's again a huge cost, as opposed to the VR6 motor, because they're older, because they're cast iron, it literally costs a couple $100.
177, some people might say.
Correct. Stav ended up getting 4 12 valves for $400 one time.
Correct.
The motor is more affordable. I think personally it sounds better. The 5-cylinder sounds amazing, a wide open throttle, but the economics again don't work. I really want to push this car. I really want to go so much faster with the RS3. But how much can I push a 5-cylinder motor where it's going to start eating itself, and there's going to be a cost associated to that because the car is so new? Again, this car is a 2018. It's literally brand new. It's only a couple years old. So understand, guys, there's, aside from me wanting to do something different, wanted to take control of development of the car, individualize the car to make it more MMS. Mainly, we're yanking the motor because it just doesn't make any sense to continue racing and beating on this, as opposed to throwing in a VR, throwing nitrous at it. And if it blows, we get another motor for $150 that we can build.
Another thing you could also say is the fact that when we first started with the RS3, it was kind of like a joke, like, oh yeah, this car will go 9s. Then it went 9s, and now like you kind of see everyone having an RS3 now that's gone 9s, and some of them gone 8s now. Some people have gone real fast, but we want to do something different. That's all. That's the way we've always been. You know, dare to be different.
So aside from that, guys, I also want to individualize the car, like I said before. While I love sharing this journey with so many of you, with all of you, there's so many other people that have said, oh, I got that set up on my car now thanks to this channel. And again, we appreciate the kind comments. We appreciate the love.
Correct.
But understand that we want to individualize and do something different, take the car to the next level, and showcase that we can make this car go fast without a 5-cylinder engine on our own. Again, the DQ500 transmission, which comes in the TTRS and R3, is the sole reason why this car performs the way it does. If this car would have came with a 6-speed, this would be the cool, new, 10-second sedan you probably would have never heard of. Because this car is so blistering fast, because the transmission is able to shift the way that it does and react the way that it does with very little power. Again, stage 2 cars making 450, 500 horsepower are going high 9s in the quarter mile now. Not because of the engine. 400 or 500 horsepower is relatively not a lot of power these days. The transmission does amazingly well.
The car works so efficiently. I mean, the engine is a big portion of it, like for the fact that it's able to make the power and sustain it. Obviously, they're very reliable. Look at all the stress we put it through. But the truth is, any motor could be behind it.
Correct. So I hope you guys are excited about this as I am. I'm beyond ecstatic about this. I almost feel more excited about this chassis again, like when I first got it, when we were first doing the big turbo kit, first going racing. And we hope you guys stick around because this is going to be sick. We're going to be pushing for some big power. We're going to be going for some new records. Again, 9.5 was the fastest I went on a stock motor. I never went to the quarter mile with the built 5-cylinder engine. 2020 is a dumpster fire. COVID ended up ruining that for us. And I needed to jump on this now so we could have it done by Christmas. So I never got a chance to take this thing to the quarter mile. I did on one of the last 2 episodes go to a 1,000-foot event. And she did like low 8s on the 1,000-foot, which was fun. You know, it was fun. It was a good time. But just keep in mind, guys, again, we need to take the next step to make the car more ours. This wouldn't be Malaka Motorsports. It wouldn't be us if we didn't make these cars ours. So I hope you guys are excited just as we are. I hope you guys are here to stay. And if you're not, I understand it. Some people are going to get angry about this. Some people are going to think that we're betraying the community. I can't control how you feel. All I can do is control what can and will make me happy. And doing a vRS6 swap on the RS3 is my choice. And I hope, again, you do whatever it is you want to do with your car. And I hope you enjoy your car the way you want it. But onwards and upwards, guys. This is going to be the first episode kicking off the build series for the RS3. Keep in mind, guys, we're going to go pretty big here. And we're going to try our damnedest here to try to go as fast as we can and showcase just how well the DQ500 transmission works along with the VR6 engine and what the vast differences are. And maybe this is a swap that you may want to try to do at home. Me and Stav are professional idiots. We're not mechanics by any stroke of the imagination. We are YouTube certified, nothing less, nothing more.
Well, I like to say, we are not experts. We just play one on YouTube.
So again, this might even develop a new option. The VR6 swap in the B5 died, and I want to not sound douchey, but I think we helped bring life back to that swap. There's so many people doing VR6 swaps and B5s now because of the development that we pushed into it, because of the visibility, the information that we put out there that, again, nobody was putting information out there. The information we were reading on the B5 stuff, people were saying would work, ended up not working at all because these guys were just liars. So if we can develop another solution now for RS3 owners that are popping their engines, that want to do something different, that want to do something maybe on a more affordable range and want to be unique, maybe this might be a swap for you. I'm not sure.
Follow us on this adventure.
Stuff sounds really enthusiastic. Follow us on this adventure. Follow us on this adventure. Guys, I'm George.
I'm Stav.
This is Malaka Motorsports, and I'll see you next time on part 2 of VR6 swapping on Audi RS3. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next one.